we're big enough and old enough now to not only look after ourselves, but to help our family out in occasions too. And this charity didn't agree with that. And I said to my mum, like, what am I actually here to do? What am I supposed to, what is my purpose of being here? I said hi.
Yeah, but then you were just like,
Wah, wah.
hello.
Sorry, I got a really cold nose. Just got back from taking the girls out and it's 10:15 at night.
Did you not realise it's that late?
Yeah, I did. When we went out, I just said, it's 9 o'clock and we're taking the girls out.
Well, yeah, but for some reason it didn't register in my head that it was that late.
No, and the reason why we took them out so late is because Christmas has been saved! A new little laser printer has arrived and working. I'll do a little clip of it, but it's going to go in tomorrow's vlog because this vlog is solely going to be, if I look that way suddenly, it's because the laser printer is, or laser engraver, is flickering and it's putting me off. But yes, this vlog is solely going to be about the time we tried to adopt. And the reason why I say try is because we were treated so horrifically, and I'm not even exaggerating by the slightest. We won't be mentioning any names or the agencies we went through, purely because yes, we got treated like crap, but this vlog, it's not gonna have, it's like we've not told them we're doing it and we've not got a statement from them to put in our vlog, so we are literally just telling you how it's been from our point of view. So yeah, when did we first apply to do the adoption? May, June? I'm not sure, but we did like a whole announcement on Facebook and Instagram. We went out and we did a picture, which I'll insert here, of us telling everybody we were going to be adopting because...
Well, we did 2 pictures, didn't we?
Yeah. I'll put one just here and I'll do another one which is going to be the end picture. And we got excited because we had been told by so many people that it would be a highly likely chance that this opportunity would work for us.
And we spent months, I know it's YouTube, but we spent months watching YouTube stories of people with disabilities, same-sex couples, people on benefits, people from different places in the world.
Disabled people.
Disabled people, people with mental health problems as well. And we've watched loads of stories of these people who have been able to adopt, and you know, they've now got happy families.
And the adoption process, within it they say to research on YouTube and look at videos and stories online of how different people have managed to adopt. And
I mean, there's one website that we found before we went to any of the adoption people, and when we were there they suggested that we look at it, and it's specifically for same-sex or LGBT adopters. And obviously we'd looked at all of that before, so we were pretty clued up with everything. We knew the whole process, And yeah, so we started the process.
When we had miscarriages before, we struggled coming to terms with it, with the fact that we hadn't told anybody. So we decided that when we were going to be adopting, we would involve our friends, our family, we would keep people up to date, and we would share our experience. And now, we 100% regret it.
We do. And the thing is with it as well, is when you are adopting, you have to have as much of a support network as possible. Even for like the first little piece, they have to see that you've got a support network, otherwise they won't let you carry on. So that's another reason why we decided that we wanted to tell everyone. We wanted everyone to know what was going to be happening so that it could support us.
So the first agency we went through, they focused more on what they call priority children, which these children are children with disabilities, physical and mental. They are sibling groups, older children, so like older than the age of 5, and also ones that have gone through severe neglect and have separation issues and stuff like that, which Sophie and I have both gone through depression, anxiety and multiple other mental health illnesses. Obviously I've got my physical health, and we thought it would be lovely to bring a child into an environment where their mummies have gone through or still going through something that they might have, like our house is set up to be wheelchair friendly because I'm in a wheelchair, so we could easily welcome in a child in a wheelchair because the house is set up for them, and one of their mummies will know exactly how it feels and what it's like to be in a wheelchair because I go through it on a daily basis. We applied, and we got through to being welcomed to the first meeting, which we had to travel to them on this occasion.
And this was like a group meeting, so there was literally 2 other people, wasn't there? And
Yeah.
it was supposed to
People
be
didn't
like,
turn up.
No, it was supposed to be a lot more people, but literally only 2 other women turned up. So
Yeah, and when we got there, one of the people turned and asked if we would like a drink because we looked hot, and it was because where we parked there was a little walk for us because we parked in such a place that at the time we also took Soph's mum and her nan, because her nan had had a fall, and we'd also taken them to go to the hospital to go to a fracture clinic, which is what families do, we help each other out.
And where the place was that we had to go for the meeting, they didn't have any on-site parking.
No.
I think they had like 1 or 2 spaces which was for staff only. And where it is, because it's like a city centre, we couldn't park on any of the roads, so we had to find a car park.
Which is about half a mile away.
Yeah, so it was a pretty big run, wasn't it? Because there's no easy way. Like, we found the building by car, but when you're parked up there, it's like they've done it in such a way that you've got to cross a giant low road, and it was just horrific.
Yeah, so obviously when we got there, we were open, we were honest, we told them what we had just done, and they just smiled and kind of brushed it off. And then they told us all about their charity, and then they opened it up for us to ask questions. And one of the questions that I asked was, have you ever had somebody like me on oxygen in a wheelchair adopt through your charity? And the one woman that was there said that in her 25 years of working for them, no, they hadn't. And that rung alarm bells straight away. Just, how could you not have had somebody in a wheelchair adopt through them, which it just didn't marry up. And then they obviously wanted to make sure how long we had been a couple, where we had lived, if we were financially stable, if the house was going to be suitable for a child, and everything. It went perfectly well. We had a one-to-one with the manager of the whole agency, and he sounded very positive, which it gave us hope.
It did.
So we arranged to have our first at-home meeting, and there was two ladies that came. One was absolutely lovely, and the other lady was the one who had been working there for 25 years. And
she was really
she
abrupt,
was,
harsh, wasn't she? They didn't necessarily say anything, but it's just she was very standoffish.
Before the meeting at our house got arranged, I was talking to the nice lady via email quite regularly, and one of the questions I asked her was, we have 2 dogs, would you like us to put them in another room, or would you like us to keep them in the room with us? And the nice lady said, keep them in the room with us because they are part of this as well. As soon as they walked through the door, obviously the girls barked because they were new people.
And it wasn't like aggressive barking, it
no,
was like
just
barking, like trying to jump up and
yeah,
kiss them and like playful.
Welcome to our home bark.
Yeah. And Dixie just wanted them to throw a ball for her.
Yeah, I said fuss them and they'll realise that you're okay, and after a while they'll settle down. But you need to give them that interaction first of all. And literally I think about 20 seconds of fussing went by, and the standoffish woman,
She fussed at all, did she?
not really. She said, right, you need to go and put them in another room now. And we were like, literally it was in that tone, and we were just like, okay. So we ended up locking them in the kitchen, which we don't like anyway. They're our girls, like the other woman said, they are a part of this as well.
And they would have been absolutely perfectly fine sitting on our laps on the sofa.
Yeah.
But they are whenever anybody else comes in, so...
Yeah. I mean, we got talking for a little while. I think they were here for 2.5 hours in total.
A long time, yeah.
Which, they said at the beginning, we can either be here a little time or a long time. Depends how well we think you're doing. And obviously an hour passed and we were like, okay, we're doing alright here. Loads and loads of questions. And
showing all the research we've done and everything.
Yeah, we told them about our siblings, where they live, our family and all that sort of stuff, when we go to see them, how long we have contact with them. And then they got to wanting to look around. And obviously you've seen our situation upstairs where they knocked a wall down for the Harry Potter room. But we turned around and said that A, we are happy to move into that room and the child have the room they're in because it's got a door. And B, we could always ask the council to try and put the wall back up.
And we sort of we asked for their opinion because obviously technically you need 2 bedrooms to be able to adopt, or like you need a spare bedroom, and that is classified, it was classified as a bedroom, so it kind of is, but obviously there's not a full
Via
door
the
there.
council it's still classified as a second bedroom.
Yeah, so obviously we were just asking them their opinion of, we need a spare bedroom, do we ask them to build a wall, or do we move in there? Like what would suit the criteria that we have to do? And one of the women the standoffish one was just like, well, just make it how you want it. Just make it actually accessible for you and stuff like that.
It's your home, and we're like, yeah, but we're welcoming a child. We need it to your standards, what
exactly.
you want us to have, because you're the ones that are authorising it. And they never really did give like a real answer. And then after that they came downstairs, and then they were just like, well, you actually need to sort this out as well. And we were like, well, we're going to be sorting it out, because it was a bit of a mess, but we had just finished the building work, and we turned around and said to them that once we knew what their decision was, we were going to be sorting it out, but we didn't want to move it all if they were going to say that it was fine the way it was set up.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't want to like sort everything out and put it all nicely in there if they were to then turn around and say that we needed to go into that bedroom, because then we'd have to move 2 bedrooms that
it wouldn't have been necessary to have moved everything or not moved something and whatever else. And then they came downstairs, and then they basically said that everything sounded really good, and that they would go away and they would let us know within 10 days what the outcome was. And we figured that if it was a negative, they would tell us pretty soon that it's a no-go. And I think they rung on day 10.
It was a long time.
Yeah, and she was all lovely and like spoke to us in a way that was going to really build our hopes up.
Yeah,
and then
it sounded really upbeat, didn't it?
yeah, and then she said, well, there's a few reasons, but that it's going to be that at the moment you can't go to the next stage. The first one was our weight. You have to have a BMI of under 35, which in our eyes is just ridiculous. Anyway, there are so many parents that are obese, morbidly obese or whatever, that have children, and yet you don't see social services taking their children away because their parents are fat, and yet we wasn't allowed to adopt because we were overweight. And then they come back saying as well that we couldn't also adopt because we support our support network, which it baffled us at first, and we was just like, well, what do you mean by that? And basically, both my mum and Soph's dad have fibromyalgia and diabetes, as that's just 2 of the conditions that they've got. Soph's dad, he can walk with sticks, he can drive, but he also has a wheelchair, and he has down days where he's in bed all day. My mum, she can drive, she uses a stick to walk, she goes swimming every morning. Basically, because we told them, we were open and honest, and we turned around and said that on some occasions we take Soph's mum and dad to hospital appointments. If it's a long appointment, we take them so that Soph drives, so that Soph's dad doesn't have to worry about driving. They get comfortable transport, and if it's Soph's mum's appointment, Soph's there to keep her dad company. If it's Soph's dad appointment, then obviously she's there to keep both of them company and her mum company and things. And the agency turned around and another reason was, like, if sometimes each year Soph's mum goes on holiday with their nan and Soph's dad stays at home. We don't have to, but we decide Soph goes there with the week that Soph's mum's away, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, just to check in on him, just to make sure he's eating and taking his meds and whatever else.
And we just to sort of like
give him company,
because he's like us. Him and mum 24/7 they're together, because they're basically the same sort of situation, aren't they?
Yeah.
So for him to not have company
for a week,
dogs, it's
a
long time.
Yeah.
So so obviously, yeah, there's some points that I go over there.
Doing a daughterly thing, going and visit your parents,
Yeah.
helping them out as they've helped you out for 25 years or whatever. But basically, the adoption agency turned around and said that in this case, we're supporting our support network too much. So we are helping the people that are supposed to be supporting us. They're basically saying that we should be doing absolutely nothing for our families, but they should be doing everything for us.
And as far as we're concerned, that's not how families
It doesn't work. It's when you're an adult, you help your parents out. Most of the time, like our parents, they're like 50, nearly 60. So they are of the older generation. And I'm 27, Sophie's 25. We're big enough and old enough now to not only look after ourselves, but to help our family out in occasions too. And this charity didn't agree with that. They seemed to think that wasn't how families are supposed to work. They turned around and said that if we worked on it over the next 6 months, got our weight down and made it so that our support network is more there for us, then we could reapply again. But the fact that they had said this to us, it just put us off straight away, and we were just like, we're not going to go to somebody who doesn't support our family values. And to say that we were too fat to be parents, it just, oh god, it just knocked us down. So we left it for a little bit, and I first of all went onto these groups on Facebook, like LGBT adoption or just ordinary adoption, whether it was single parents, older parents, married couples, non-married couples, whatever, just everyday people. It wasn't segregated to just LGBT.
Sometimes on there was even people who were adopted, so they can give like their point of view.
Yeah, and obviously then once I told Sophie about it, Sophie joined up to these places on Facebook as well. And we continued to watch like all the videos on YouTube and whatever else. And we found 2 further adoption agencies. Another one was another charity, and one was a town council. So we decided to go with the other charity one first, because obviously we support so many charities. We wanted to do this as well, and this particular charity, Sophie had actually volunteered for working in one of their stores.
Yeah.
At like the charity shops, and we applied, and again, everything sounded perfect on the phone, and
it was different with this one though, wasn't it? Like with the last one, we went to an initial group meeting, whereas with this one you had your initial chat over the phone.
Yeah, for like an hour or whatever.
Yeah, and so
unfortunately, the time that we had arranged for them to ring us, that was the time when we just started vlogging, and I was in hospital because of my lungs. Sophie continued with the phone call at home. She was on there, what, an hour?
Yeah, at least
an hour, or hour and a half, whatever. Sophie got off the phone and she told me that it sounded extremely positive.
I mean, we had a laugh on the phone. She agreed with a lot of the stuff I said. She said that we sound like a completely lovely couple, and that we sound like we'd be really great parents and everything.
Which we have been told so many times,
Yeah.
literally 10 or more times in a year, every year we've been together. And it's
And that's not including friends and family, that's like other people.
Yeah, it's just getting to the point that we get fed up people saying it now. Although it's lovely to hear
Yeah.
when you're hearing it over and over, but we're not getting the results of being parents.
It kind of starts to be quite a big slap in the face.
Yeah. So we didn't they said that we would hear back within 7 days, I think it was. And I received a phone call when I was in hospital, and I took the phone call. Obviously I didn't want to cancel it or not accept it. I think you were busy or something, you were volunteering. So I had to be the one to answer. I didn't say that I was in hospital or anything, I just carried on the conversation as if like I was at home. And she was really lovely on the phone again, talking really nicely, having a joke and things with me. And then she turned around and said, on paper, we are the perfect parents. She still stands by that. But in person, we wouldn't be I'm laughing because of how ridiculous it is. We wouldn't make adoptive parents because I was in a wheelchair. She then followed it up by, if I was in a wheelchair but didn't need a carer, they might reconsider things. And I sort of said that although Sophie is down on paper as my carer, she is not literally every single half an hour of the day doing stuff.
I mean, it's not like you can't do anything for yourself. It's not like I have to give you sponge baths and I have to hoist you out of bed or anything like that.
I do all the transferring myself. Sometimes Sophie helps me in the shower if my arms are aching and I can't reach my hair or something like that. We've decided to do it that Sophie does the cooking, because if I'm having a bad day, which I have done in the past, and my arms are weaker, I have burned myself. So we just decided to say, well, instead of even taking that risk, Sophie will do it. With the cleaning, we divide the house up, but on days that I can manage it, I will do a fair bit of the cleaning. But sometimes we choose not to do it because it gives me really bad migraines. And sometimes it's not worth it. If I know that I'm going to get a migraine, if I can feel it in my head, or I get like the auras or something like that, why am I going to put myself in that risk when Sophie says she's happy to do it?
And as well, like another thing that was said is the fact that like we can go out a lot. We have a life. Yeah, because we don't have to go out and work. We have the ability to be there 24/7 for a child.
Yeah.
And we both have experience in care, sort of in like caring roles. And like we've both looked after children, and that's another thing they said. They said that we would have to go and volunteer.
Which is fair enough. We knew that might be the case. But even though I've worked in a hospital for multiple years and was a part of St. John Ambulance for multiple years, I specialised looking after children with like autism and Asperger's and ADHD and stuff like that. I wrote books for children with disabilities. Because that was a few years ago, they won't take it into consideration.
And particularly where we live, places that you generally would go to volunteer at to help look after children, Charlie probably wouldn't be able to get in very well, and like wouldn't be able to do very well, because
like if it was the Scouts or something like that, which they say to go volunteer with Scouts a lot, they do a lot on grassy areas and like early morning when it's like morning dew and stuff like that. My wheelchair will not do that.
And a lot of the Scouts huts in like around where we live as well, have steps, so like up wooden steps and like little cabins and stuff, so that's not suitable either. So realistically, Charlie volunteering somewhere is not really possible like that.
But they also said that obviously with me being in my wheelchair, that they said that they don't believe that I would be able to care for a child when I need a carer, which is total bullshit. Which, like we say, she's down as my carer because it's the way it works, like the way my body works. Bringing in an outside carer, which we said the other day, in yesterday's Q&A actually, my time scale wouldn't work for bringing in an outside carer, and it's little points throughout the day, like yesterday my hip dislocated. I needed Sophie then, but that happened at 7 o'clock at night or whenever it was. But if I don't have a carer with me, I'd be stuck on the floor with a dislocated hip for hours. So it's just, the logistics behind it does not work. But with Sophie being here, within 5 minutes it was sorted and we carried on with our everyday life. So when they say that I wouldn't be able to care for a child, if we had a child and I was on the floor and that happened, Sophie could help me within a few minutes. I'll be back to doing whatever it is with that child, no issues. But this charity seemed to think that because I was in a wheelchair and had a carer assigned to my name, I wouldn't be able to physically look after a child.
And I just want to clarify as well that before, they usually have like the ability to sort of say, yes, you can continue to stage 1, basically. They have to get a assessment done by your GP, like a specific one for adopters, and neither of these places even bothered to contact our GPs or anything.
And yet neither of them either understood or knew the name of my conditions.
Yes, so they had no idea how Charlie was or is or could be or anything like that. So they didn't look into it at all. They just made assumptions and made the wrong assumptions. Literally, they didn't even really ask us much about what the conditions are. Like, they said what was Ehlers-Danlos, and all we got to say was that I can have dislocations regularly, stretchy skin, and I have tummy issues, because that's all that I had at the time, really, because I wasn't diagnosed with my POTS, and that's basically all we really got to say about what Ehlers-Danlos was. And obviously with my brittle asthma, we turned around and said that I can have an asthma attack with no warning, but so can anybody with asthma. If you have asthma, you can have a sudden asthma attack with no warning, regardless of whether it was exercise induced or allergy or brittle asthma. And at this point, at these points, you had been fine for nearly 2 years.
Well, it was 2 years. 2 years I hadn't been in hospital, which is why we went with the process of going to adopt, because my health had got so much better. My lung function had doubled, my mental health was better, Sophie's mental health was better, and our GP, we'd even spoke to her about starting a family, because she referred us to the fertility clinic, so she was completely on board with us becoming parents. And our GP knows us extremely well, and yet none of these charities even made the slightest bit of contact with our GP to find out any information about us. And the second charity, they didn't even come out and see us. Everything was over the phone. So, personally, I don't think that you could get a whole picture of somebody just by talking over the phone.
No, you can't.
So, in a nutshell, we got refused to adopt because we care for our family and because I'm in a wheelchair. And it 100% shocked us. Even to the point that the third agency that we found, the council agency, we didn't even bother. I mean, we had arranged to have a telephone consultation and we cancelled it because we didn't want to be let down for a third time. We couldn't cope with being told for a third time some ridiculous story of why we shouldn't be able to be parents. And even now, we joke about it, but...
I mean, right this current minute, I feel like I could cry, so...
Yeah. And it does hurt because we know that we'd be good parents. And it's shocking that these authorities can stop you from adopting because of a disability and because we're too caring.
And yet they're complaining that there are way more children than adopters, and yet they don't let people like us who would make great parents even go through to stage 1.
They build up your hope to literally knock you down with a ridiculous excuse. I mean, when we applied for adopting, one of the questions was, because obviously we had miscarriages with Sky and River, they said after, would we be trying for a baby alongside trying for adoption? And we said no. If we got through to the next stage of being able to adopt, we would put our heart and soul into making everything perfect for this child. And we wouldn't have even tried for a baby within a few years of adopting a child. It would have to be completely legalised and this child we adopted be 100% ours before we even thought about having our own children. And obviously now that that's not happened, we are trying naturally again for us because we are so desperate to be parents. And I don't think these agencies really grasp the fact of how much we want to have a child in our lives. And the fact that they can just brush us off so easily for pathetic reasons is just absolutely shocking. I mean, before we went through adoption, I would say to anybody who have a disability, illness, or whatever else, to just go for it. See what you can do. You never know what could happen. Having a disability shouldn't stop you from being able to adopt.
And they always say it doesn't as well, on all the websites and stuff. It says, it literally says the only people who are refused to adopt, to allow to adopt, is people who have a record with crimes against children.
Yeah. But I wouldn't even... if someone in a wheelchair said to me, "Oh, I want to adopt, what's your thoughts?" I would say to them, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't want to see them get as disappointed and upset as what we did because of them being in a wheelchair. I mean, afterwards, obviously, we told our parents, and I said to my mum, what am I actually put on this earth to do? We can't have our own children, or we haven't successfully had. And I never got to be the paramedic. I lost like being able to walk. And I said to my mum, like, what am I actually here to do? What is my purpose of being here? And obviously my mum turned and said that when it's meant to be, it will happen and whatever else, but we want it to happen now. I mean, we've been trying for like 5.5 years to be parents, and obviously it's just not happening so far. And yes, it probably will happen when it's meant to, but in that space and time, it's just completely heartbreaking, waiting for that moment to happen.
And there's a few things as well that make it even harder. It's like, one thing is the fact that because we're a same-sex couple, we have to put a lot more effort, I suppose you could say, and we've got to rely on other people. Otherwise, it's never going to happen, and we have to...
No, we don't have the liquid gold sitting in our fridge.
Exactly. Whereas, like, for straight couples, I'm not saying that if you're a straight couple who's got fertility issues, that
No, not
it's
at all.
got it easy or anything like that.
If you don't know that you've got fertility, like, issues at all, for a straight couple, you can just jump into bed and go for it anytime you want.
Yeah.
We have to find a sperm donor, and then we have to arrange a time that marries up with ovulation, and then we've got to be free, they've got to be free, but you don't want somebody who lives just down the road, because obviously if we don't want to co-parent, which we don't want really our child to be seeing the sperm donor, the dad, every time they go to the park or something. It's just not something we want.
Exactly. And another thing that is just keeps happening is so many of our friends and things are having children, and
it's lovely, absolutely lovely.
It's completely lovely, and we are over the moon for them.
But we
at
just
the
want our
same
turn.
time, yeah, it's literally kind of like, what do they say, dangling candy in front of a baby or something?
Carrot in front of a rabbit.
Okay, I've never heard of that version. But yeah, it's literally like, for like straight couples that we know who aren't trying and
It
they
just
get
happens.
pregnant, yeah, or just anyone really. And then there's like other couples who literally just had a baby and they're just like, we already know when we're gonna start trying for another one, like within a year, and we're just like...
Or sometimes we see like YouTube videos or something like that. I was watching Making Mum and Dad Mad or something the other day on YouTube, and it was basically parents who can't control their kids or treat their kids so horrifically. And I'm watching it, I'm saying to Sophie, we would love that child, we would do so much better than them. And obviously they've called in help because their child's kicking them every day and swearing at them, but the parents are swearing at them and kicking these children. And it's just like, we wouldn't even dare do that. Like, just give us your child.
Yeah, and things like, I mean, yes, fair enough, we don't have a child, we don't 100% know, hands down, exactly what we're going to be like as parents.
Not at all.
But we have nieces and nephews, we've both worked with children, we know like how to treat children, we know how to encourage them, we have the ability and the time and everything to really, really raise an amazing child.
Whenever it happens. But yeah, that's kind of our adoption story. I would say in a nutshell, but it's in 45 minutes. So, apologies. well done if you've made it this far. If you've experienced similar situations or know of anybody that's gone through similar situations, just let us know in the comments and
or message us.
Yeah.
We'll put our Instagrams down below
yeah.
so that you can just contact us on there if you want to. Because we'd be more than happy to chat to you guys. Obviously, we know that you guys would appreciate knowing this sort of stuff. So, yeah, we thought we would do that for you.
Yeah. And tomorrow we will go back to doing our normal vlogging. Whoop, whoop. So yes, well done for getting this far. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Good night.
Good night.